A 5% EF2 plus tornado threat is in place today from Joplin through Indianapolis and Saint Louis. Hurricane Beryl is undergoing an eyewall replacement cycle tonight, doubling the size of its destructive wind field. Thousands of dry lightning strikes ignited dozens of new wildfires across Southern California overnight. 3 weather emergencies are colliding on this Father's Day, and every single one of them is serious. If you have outdoor Father's Day plans today, you need to hear this forecast first. A large slight risk of severe weather stretches from Nebraska back through Wichita, Oklahoma City, and St. Louis. Springfield, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and Louisville are all in the higher-end threat zone for today's severe weather. The Storm Prediction Center is watching for a potential upgrade to damaging wind and tornado probabilities today. If you live from St. Louis back toward Cincinnati, you are in the highest alert zone today. Most of the risk zone faces isolated to scattered severe storms with 60 to 75 miles per hour winds today. Near Wichita and Springfield, Missouri, tennis ball to baseball sized hail is possible this afternoon. A 5% Sig 1 tornado threat means EF2 plus tornadoes are possible in the bullseye zone today. The bullseye for that EF2 plus tornado threat is Joplin, Missouri through Indianapolis and back to St. Louis. This is a conditional tornado threat, but by early afternoon, the conditions will likely be fully in place. Tell me your city in the comments. We'll give you the most specific update for your area. The big question mark today is storm mode, how discrete the storms can stay through the afternoon. Discrete supercells in today's environment would be capable of EF2 plus tornadoes. That is the conditional threat. If morning storms allow the warm sector to fully breathe, this afternoon could get very active. A broken complex of thunderstorms is already stretching from southeastern Kansas back up toward Quincy right now. That complex is producing damaging winds and could spin up a brief tornado in the next few hours. Right around lunchtime is when the severe weather really starts to ramp up significantly across the region. A clearing over southern Illinois and Indiana will allow a warm sector to open up fully by noon. By around noon, rotating supercells should develop near St. Louis, heading into southern and central Illinois. Around 1 to 2 p.m., Springfield, Effingham, and areas near Sullivan, Missouri will be right in the crosshairs. That corridor could see embedded tornadoes in the line or discrete supercells ramping up with embedded rotation. By 3 p.m., if storms stay discrete along I-70, a strong tornado is possible near Mount Vernon. By 4 p.m., storms will be pretty much everywhere. Supercells near North Platte could produce a photogenic tornado. By 5 p.m., Indianapolis and southern Indiana will be getting hit by that line of thunderstorms. By 6 to 7 p.m., Cincinnati back through Louisville should be getting hit. Supercells cannot be ruled out. Into the late evening and overnight, these storms continue pushing south and east across the region. Warnings can come very fast today. Know your shelter location before the first storm arrives. If you have outdoor Father's Day cookouts planned today, please have a shelter plan ready right now. Comment your city below, especially if you're in the tornado threat zone from Joplin to Indianapolis. If you're heading outside for Father's Day celebrations today, please check the radar one more time first. Now let's talk about Monday. The severe weather threat expands dramatically and shifts south and east. The highest risk on Monday will reside from Washington, D.C. back through Charlotte, North Carolina. Anyone in the marginal risk area Monday faces damaging winds and large hail as the primary hazard. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. Your threat is Monday. Damaging winds 4 to 8 p.m. The tornado window for D.C. and Philadelphia on Monday runs roughly from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Low-level wind shear in the D.C. corridor on Monday could produce a couple of brief spin-up tornadoes. Denver and Montana on Monday see supercells forming from upslope flow with large hail and downburst, unfortunately. Monday also brings more rain to Mississippi. Alabama and Louisiana areas already hit hard by flooding. Over the next 48 hours, Evansville through Louisville could see 3 to 4 inches of rain locally. Wichita and south of Kansas City have already taken a lot of rain over the last 12 hours. More rain is coming tonight and tomorrow morning. Low-lying areas in Kansas and Missouri need to stay aware. Turn around, don't drown. That message applies especially to Gulf Coast communities still dealing with Arthur's flooding. Tuesday brings a weak low-pressure system that could produce isolated tornadoes across the northern plains. If you live near Minneapolis, Rochester, or Sioux City, be on alert for possible supercells Tuesday afternoon. Near Amarillo, Colby, and Lamar, a few supercells are possible Tuesday with isolated large hail. Wednesday through Friday will likely continue to be somewhat stormy across many of these same areas. Now here is the part of the forecast I'm watching most carefully, and that is next weekend. Right now we have mostly zonal flow across the northern U.S. with upper-level winds running west, but a big low-pressure system from the Pacific Northwest is expected to arrive by this weekend. Sunday could see a significant threat of severe weather across the northern plains and Midwest, all hazards possible. On Sunday, the low-level winds will start to really crank, especially over North Dakota and Minnesota. But Monday next week could actually be one of the most significant severe weather days of the summer. Now let's talk about the story running second only to today's tornado threat, and that is Beryl. Beryl is holding at Category 3 tonight with a well-defined eye and sustained winds above 115 miles per hour. But something very significant is now happening on the satellite imagery, and it changes everything about Beryl. Beryl is undergoing what meteorologists call an Eyewall replacement cycle, or ERC. An ERC happens when a hurricane's outer bands organize into a brand new ring around the center. On satellite imagery right now, you can see two concentric rings of clouds forming around Beryl's eye. It looks exactly like giant concentric ripples spreading outward from the very center of the storm. What this means is that Beryl's maximum winds may temporarily weaken at the very center of the storm. But, and this is critical, the destructive wind field expands to cover a much larger area. The ERC essentially doubles the footprint of Beryl's hurricane-force winds across the ocean surface. A bigger wind field means more coastal area gets hit. Beryl's damage footprint just got wider. Once Beryl completes the ERC, it often comes back out as a bigger and sometimes even stronger hurricane. So do not be fooled if you see early headlines saying Beryl weakened. This storm is not done. The temporary weakening during the ERC is just the hurricane reorganizing itself into a more dangerous structure. Beryl, after completing the ERC, will emerge with a broader wind field and potentially even stronger peak winds. Beryl is currently tracking toward the eastern Caribbean, with the Gulf of Mexico remaining in its longer-range forecast. The Gulf Coast remains in Beryl's extended discussion range this week is your preparation window. Caribbean islands in Beryl's path should prepare now. This is a strong, major hurricane, not weakening. Once Beryl clears the Caribbean and approaches the Gulf, the NHC track will narrow significantly. Stay tuned. Houston, Tampa, New Orleans, and Miami, all four cities need to be following every NHC advisory on Beryl. The NHC issues advisories every 6 hours. Check every single one because the track is still evolving. Tell me your Gulf Coast city in the comments. We are specifically tracking Beryl's path for your area. Now let's pivot to the West Coast. What happened overnight in Southern California is genuinely alarming. The heat dome has created an atmospheric phenomenon called dry lightning, and the result is devastating. Dry lightning happens when storm clouds form at high altitude, but rain evaporates completely before hitting the ground. The only thing that makes contact with the ground below is the lightning. No rain, just electricity. Thousands of dry lightning strikes hit Southern California and Arizona overnight, igniting dozens of new wildfires simultaneously. The combination of super dry vegetation, triple-digit heat, and gusty winds turn those ignitions into major fires fast. Dozens of California wildfires igniting simultaneously from dry lightning means crews cannot respond to all of them. That is what makes dry lightning events so catastrophically different from normal wildfire seasons in California. Air quality is hazardous across wide areas of Southern California from the smoke of these overnight fires. There is no rain in the forecast for California, or Arizona fire weather conditions will continue for days. If you are under an evacuation warning tonight in California, please leave immediately. Do not wait. If you live in a fire-prone area of Southern California or Arizona, have your evacuation plan completely ready. Now let's talk about the MCV, a Mesoscale Convective Vortex rotating through the Ohio Valley tonight. An MCV is derecho remnant energy that has reorganized itself into a slowly rotating structure. Think of it like a mini tropical storm on land with a rotating center and continuous heavy rainfall. This MCV is slowly rotating through the Ohio Valley and targeting Pennsylvania with locally heavy rainfall. Some areas in the Ohio Valley and Pennsylvania could see over 4 inches of rain from this MCV. Flash flood emergencies are possible in urban areas that are already saturated from recent rounds of rainfall. Pittsburgh, Columbus, and the Cincinnati area are all within the MCV's moisture-pumping influence right now. Urban flooding from this MCV can happen extremely quickly. Watch for water rising on low-lying roads. Turn around, don't drown. This rule applies just as much to the MCV flooding tonight. The heat dome is shifting, but the danger is not over. Do not let your guard down tonight. Tonight, the East Coast is experiencing a warm night, temperatures staying between 80 and 85 degrees. When nighttime temperatures don't drop below 80 degrees, the body gets no recovery time from the day's heat. Tomorrow, a weak cool front drops into New England. Boston and northern New York finally get relief. But that heat gets pushed south mid-Atlantic, and Ohio Valley still face heat index values near 105 degrees Fahrenheit. California and the desert Southwest continue baking above 105 degrees. The heat dome out west is not budging. Heat kills more Americans annually than any other natural disaster. Please take tonight's heat advisory seriously. Check on elderly neighbors. Tonight, they are the most vulnerable to heat illness right now. Let's run through specific city forecasts for tonight and tomorrow, starting with today's tornado threat zone. Joplin, Missouri, you are right in the bullseye of today's 5% E F2 plus tornado threat. Springfield, Missouri, and Effingham, Illinois, rotating supercells are expected in your area from 1 to 2 p.m. today. St. Louis supercells are expected by lunchtime, and conditions for a tornado cannot be ruled out. Mount Vernon and Robinson, Illinois. A discrete supercell near I-70 by 3 p.m. carries a real tornado risk. North Platte. Nebraska, a photogenic tornado is possible just south of your area around 4 p.m. today. Indianapolis and southern Indiana, the line of thunderstorms arrives in your area by 5 p.m. today. Cincinnati and Louisville, damaging wind gusts and a couple of possible tornadoes arrive between 6 and 7 p.m. Wichita and Oklahoma City, slight risk today with 60 to 75 miles per hour gust as the primary hazard. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. Your threat is Monday. Damaging winds 4 to 8 p.m. Charlotte, Raleigh, and the Carolinas Monday carries the highest risk in the mid-Atlantic for your area. Denver and Montana Monday supercells with isolated very large hail and downburst wind gusts are on the table. Minneapolis, Rochester, and Sioux City Tuesday afternoon may bring a couple of supercells your way. Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. More rain is coming Monday, and flooding from Arthur is still a concern. If your city isn't in this list, comment below and we'll get you a specific forecast update. If you're in the tornado threat zone, identify your shelter location before the first warning today. An interior room on the lowest floor with no windows is the safest shelter during a tornado warning. If you're at an outdoor venue today and warnings come in, get inside a solid structure immediately. Today is a good reminder, weather does not respect holidays. And it does not respect Father's Day. Being informed and prepared is genuinely the only thing that separates a close call from a tragic outcome. To dads with outdoor Father's Day plans, please have a weather backup plan ready for this afternoon. Share this with any family outdoors today on Father's Day who may not be checking the weather. Happy Father's Day to all the dads watching. Stay safe out there and keep your families informed. Let's wrap up this Father's Day weekend is genuinely one for the weather history books. A 5% EF2 plus tornado threat from Joplin through Indianapolis, the most dangerous part of today's forecast. Hurricane Beryl completing an Eyewall replacement cycle, emerging bigger with a doubled wind field after the ERC. Thousands of dry lightning strikes ignited dozens of wildfires across Southern California and Arizona overnight. And an MCV from derecho remnants is rotating through the Ohio Valley with 4+ inches of rain. 4 simultaneous weather emergencies on one Father's Day, and the atmosphere refuses to take a day off. Make sure all your weather alerts are fully turned on and your shelter location is known right now. Never drive through flooded roads. Turn around. Don't drown. It saves more lives than any other rule. Gulf Coast viewers, prepare for Beryl now. Not when a watch is issued. Not when a warning posts. Tell me your city in the comments. Which of these weather stories hits closest to home for you? Are you in the tornado zone, watching Beryl from the Gulf Coast, or dealing with the California wildfires? We are watching all of these stories simultaneously and will push updates as this Father's Day develops. What is your biggest concern right now, the tornado threat today? Beryl? The wildfires? Or the MCV flooding? The pattern is extremely active and shows no signs of slowing down as June approaches its end. Beryl is the dominant weather story for the entire week ahead. Stay connected and stay prepared. Upper level and low level winds look to meet in a very intense severe weather setup next Monday. If you live in the northern tier of the country, stay on alert for next Monday's severe weather. What makes today's severe weather setup unusual is how many different hazards are on the table at once. Most Father's Days are barbecue weather, but this one requires a weather-aware mindset all day long. Today's setup closely resembles the last couple of Midwest outbreaks we have tracked this month. Beryl, after completing the ERC, will emerge with a broader wind field and potentially even stronger peak winds. Caribbean islands in Beryl's path should prepare now. This is a strong, major hurricane, not weakening. Once Beryl clears the Caribbean and approaches the Gulf, the NHC track will narrow significantly. If you're in the tornado threat zone today, identify your shelter location before the first warning arrives. An interior room on the lowest floor with no windows is the safest shelter during a tornado warning. Today is a reminder. Weather does not respect holidays. And it absolutely does not respect Father's Day. Being informed and prepared is genuinely the only thing that separates a close call from a tragic outcome. To dads with outdoor Father's Day plans, please have a weather backup plan ready for this afternoon. Share this with any family who is outdoors on Father's Day and may not be checking the weather. Happy Father's Day to every dad out there. Stay safe and keep your families informed and prepared. We'll keep the updates coming all day. Stay safe out there this Father's Day, plain and simple. What is your biggest concern today? The tornado threat, Beryl, the wildfires, or the MCV flooding? Tell me your city in the comments. Which of these weather stories hits closest to home for you? This Father's Day is proving June 2026 is unlike anything forecasters have seen in recent memory. We will have another detailed update tomorrow morning covering Beryl, severe weather, and wildfires.